Good evening, fellow riflemen of the Killing Wall. Tonight is an awesome night. Tonight, I got Justice Prevails with me. Tonight, we're tackling something interesting. Tonight, I premiered my fucking intro video. Tonight, we're going to be talking about some shit. But first things first. First things first. General orders. Attention to orders. First and foremost. Thank you for being on, Justice.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome sauce. General order number 2. Kinko still needs help. Donate to the PayPal link down below. Buy a Kinko t-shirt over at the Teespring. Download Live 365. Carry us everywhere in your pocket. Carry us everywhere in your tablet. Carry us even in your car. Because guess what? We're also on Spotify. We're also on Instagram. We're also on Twitch. We're also on YouTube. We're still on Facebook. And we're kicking ass. So, get your asses squared away.
Live, too.
Oh, I did say Live 365. They are under orders to download it. Find us. Hellfire Radio over there. And we're still on the World Wide Web at hellfireradio.com. So watch us. Listen to us. Bring us with you. Buy merch. And don't worry. Uniforms are coming. Standard issue equipment is coming. Hopefully tonight I will be posting on the Killing Wall page the link to the merch. Finally, after all this time, finally, it's arrived. It's just like a government entity. It takes its sweet time to get there, but when it gets there, good God, it's going to work. But that won't be until later on this evening. So tune in tonight so you can get some further details. Now, tonight, Justice is going to help me. Lieutenant Justice, tonight, you know what we're going to be tackling?
Insurance.
In particular, medical insurance companies. And all the individual fucking charges that they are going to be guilty of and deserve. 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. Let's see exactly what the squad has loaded up for me tonight. Because we got a few of them. Oh, yeah, we got a few of them. Troops Page. Page got promoted. Page is now a sergeant. Sergeant Page. Troop Tristan. Troops Abby and Gabby. Page. That's right. See, my voice comes back.
Multitasking. Apologies.
That's right. Troops Beth. Troops Gabby. Damn right. We got them all. Glad to hear you're recovering there, Troop Tristan. Justice, in case you didn't know, Troop Tristan had to have a little bit of an interesting encounter with some medical insurance last night.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Fucker decided to try and get into a kicking match with a door frame. He lost, of course. And he cut his
door frames. You just can't trust them.
Nope. Damn door frames. I swear, they're in it with the conspiracy with the medical insurance companies and the hospitals in order to be able to get the money out of people. I'm telling you.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
Those trees will jump out at you every chance they get, fucking trees.
You ever get into a fist fight with a brick wall?
Not me, but I've seen it happen.
Oh, yeah. It's nuts. It's nuts! So, medical insurance companies. Lieutenant Justice, what's your take?
Hate them. They claim there's no such thing as organized crime, but there's no other industry where you have to pay a premium or your employer pays a premium and you get nothing for it. So it costs the average American anywhere from $300 to $1,500 a month to get coverage from health insurance. Regular plain old health insurance. So if you have any kind of job, any kind of menial job, your company usually pays some health insurance. They pay a lot of money, but you end up with nothing. So for $500 to $600 a month, you get a $5,000 deductible that if you're reasonably healthy, you're never going to meet. So you're paying all this money for all this insurance that you can't use because you have to rack up $5,000 or more in a lot of cases these days to actually have the insurance kick in. And on top of having already paid for the premium, you have to pay your co-insurance, you have to pay your deductible, you have to pay a copay. And God forbid your provider's out of network, that's a whole other Megillah. So that's just a jumping off point. And so now as an average American just going to work every day, You're supposed to be able to understand this shit on top of it. So when you get sick, or when that door frame comes out and kicks your ass and you end up in the ER, and then you find out you have this $150 fee to pay to the ER before they even look at you because of insurance that you already paid a lot of money for monthly, and they still haven't done anything for you, and you're still out the money. You miss one installment of that payment, you got no health insurance. None. But they still get paid. Now, you got to go get surgery, and you have to have it authorized before you have it done. They tell you when you're authorizing the surgery, this is not a guarantee of payment. So even though the insurance company says, yes, we have the medical documentation, yes, this is medically necessary, yes, we have approved you to have this surgery, they can turn around and say, no, we decided not to pay for it. But you still have to pay all your premiums. There's nothing you can do about it.
It's a loan shark.
Yeah, it's worse than a loan shark. It's just organized crime. Loan shark, at least you get money somewhere. You just got to pay back a shitload. You may never get anything from the insurance company, yet you're out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a year. Either you or your employer. God forbid you have to insure yourself. It's insane.
Hey, you want to know what it is? Here's how I equate it, okay? I'm going to steal from a little bit of a comedian here. He used to call insurance in case shit, okay? You want to know what? I'm paying you money in case shit happens. At the end of the year, whatever the hell I paid you, I better get the fuck back. Get the fuck
back.
Guess
Don't
what?
come back.
I came back with nothing but a fucking paper cut all goddamn year. I wrapped myself up in bubble wrap. I deserve my fucking check. Give me my check. Give me my check. You know? Straight up. Okay? And you want
If
to
it
know
was
what?
a legal business, you would get money back. Or at very least, your rates wouldn't go up. But guess what? Every year you get older, your rates go up. If you've never been a sick a day in your life, but you get older, your rates go up. What's the alternative? Don't get older? Pine Box only costs once.
Yeah. Not for nothing. The thing is, sometimes you don't even get that. Sometimes you get them a fucking particle board.
Particle board. IKEA. Build it yourself before you die.
And chances are it's going to fall apart right in the fucking crematorium anyway, so what the fuck are they making us pay so much for?
Exactly.
Okay, here's something, okay? Try to emphasize. The VA. Oh, I could talk for hours about the VA. Let me tell you about these motherfuckers, okay? Don't even get me started, all right? Here's the idea of what they consider to be medical grade conscription fucking medical therapy. Okay? You lose an eye? Take some Motrin. You lose an arm? Take 2 Motrin. You just had a heart attack? Here's some Motrin. Duty not to include flight for 72 hours. Oh, and here's some Ambien. That's their idea when you're in actual active duty.
But is it real Motrin or is it like Kmart Matron?
It's Notrin. That's what it is. You get 2 tablets of Notrin.
But then you also get TRICARE. Does TRICARE do you any good?
It's, if you want to know what, I could talk shit about it, but then again, they did kind of save my life. I mean, they found the cancer. They paid for the cancer. The problem is the moment you're no longer active duty, that's when you're getting fucked. They make sure they get all they can out of you first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is it still a mobile troop? Yes. Can it still fire a rifle? Yes. Can it still work common? Yes. Can it still handle CE? Yes. Can it not? Okay, fine. Then fuck it. Throw it to the VA.
Yeah.
And the VA has stipulations. Stipulations. You want to know what the stipulations are?
Absolutely, I want to know what the stipulations are.
You're going to fucking love this. You want full medical coverage? Guess what? You have to have served a minimum of 15 years.
And do you get partial for serving less?
I have to do a copay on prescriptions.
With the VA or outside the VA?
with the VA.
Really? Oh, okay.
Okay. That's one. Two, I get free exams once a year.
Whoopee!
I get free vision, but I have to file for an appointment 7 months in advance. And even then, they might cancel the appointment. Yeah. Okay. No dental unless you served for 20.
So you don't have Delta?
Nope.
You have no Delta coverage?
You got to pay money.
Jeez.
You got to pay, I think, like $200 or $300
A year or a month?
per visit.
Ow. Yeah, dentist, if you got to have work done, you're in the chair for like once a week at very least for 6 months. And that racks up. That racks up.
And people wonder why I don't go to the VA for dental. Now you know why.
The VA charges you that for dental? That's crazy.
I have 2 Purple Hearts and I don't get that shit. Okay? I don't get it.
That's ridiculous.
Served 6 years. I did 2 deployments. Nope.
So what happens?
Charge 2.
So what happens if you get one of those gov.org jobs where you're now a civilian, but you have vet status and you go work back within? You get nothing. You get bupkis? Wow.
Nope. You're considered to be a civilian contractor, in which case then the only thing that applies to you that's military grade is the UCMJ. That's it. Even when you're retired military, you're still subject to UCMJ.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you had any particular job that required clearance. I did. Air Force, it's a requirement.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So you got that going on. Okay? That's military. And in the VA, guess what? It's always backed up. There's a backlog. And Lord for fucking bid, you need to file for some form of medical disability.
Wow.
Year backlog. 4 years.
Holy shit. Is
4
that
years.
across the country, or is that just because we've got a heavy population here? It's everywhere?
Yes.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yes. It is a fucking nightmare.
Does it get any easier if you're admitted through the ER or the VA? Ugh.
The only time you ever have to go to the... Oh, by the way, you have to check in with the VA first before you attend any sort of medical facility.
Really? Even as a civilian? So then they're like the insurance too. They can tell you, yeah, go ahead, and then say, no, you shouldn't have done it. That's crazy.
Yeah. I have to go through VA required, VA approved medical facilities.
Okay.
Up to and including emergency rooms.
They can't
I want
really
that to
legally
sink
tell you
in.
that, though.
What?
Because if you're having a medical emergency, if you go anywhere by ambulance, that negates the rules of engagement for everybody, because it's the ambulance crew's decision on where to bring you.
But it also depends on, one, nature of your condition. Now, if your condition is life-threatening, then they have to stabilize you and then move you to a VA facility.
If they can get the transport.
They will force you to pay for the transport.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that bad.
See, the problem is
Okay.
people don't know this. They just think people get taken care of. They don't know everything that's behind the scenes. Well, yeah. It's only right.
You know, it makes you want to go somewhere else. I'm pointing up north geographically.
Sure.
But then again, that isn't really much better either. You're trading off one inconvenience for another. One of them is a monetary inconvenience. That's here. Okay?
Yeah.
You're getting gouged in the wallet. Up there, on the other hand, you have to file for an appointment over a year in advance for any type of procedure. And Lord for fucking bid, you miss your appointment. You got to file and wait another year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's what you had. That's what you get for it being free. Everybody and their mother uses it.
Okay.
Which means their appointment log is.
Okay.
And with as many people, and somebody mentioned, one of the squad mentioned in the chat, about a good 60 to 80% of the people in the ER aren't even really there for an emergency.
Well, yeah, no, that's very true. That's all too true.
Now imagine it all being free. And everybody and their mother's going.
A lot of people in the ERs across the U.S., they're in the ER because they think it's free too. Yeah, and they think the ambulance ride, they think the $400 ambulance ride is free.
And then they get the bill.
Expensive cab you're ever going to take. And they think they're going to get seen quicker if they go by ambulance. No, don't work that way.
Nope. It is beyond ridiculous. All right. Sergeant Page actually posted something because they're actually from Canada.
Canada, yes. They're Canuckistanian.
Yeah. I have a lot of things that are not free, but wait is ridiculous. I waited 13 months to see a neurologist. I forgot about the appointment because it was over a year later, so I was charged $150 and have to wait again.
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. They charge you if you have to, if you miss your appointment. There is, you want to know what? Troop Matthew is saying something, okay? There is a solution. There is. You want to know what it is? Have a flat rate for whatever the hell it is the procedure is that you need to get squared away. Solved. Okay? That's who you pay, the hospital. Have every single hospital adhere to one key rate, and that particular hospital is what gets the money to pay out a salary to the doctor. You need a tooth pulled, $150. Flat rate. Okay? Yeah. You need a standard examination, $50. Flat rate. Okay? All that money goes immediately to the hospital. The hospital can then use it for expansion, use it for more personnel, use it for standard care, salaries, the whole nine. Doctors need to seriously stop getting paid 8 figures a fucking year.
They're not getting all of that anymore. Those days are over unless you're in boutique care or you're in plastic surgery, because plastic surgery is all private pay. Yeah. If you're in any kind of actual patient care that's necessary, orthopedic, pediatric, you're not making that money. You have to be contracted with insurances. The insurances demand that you take what they call contracted rates. So for a visit for 20 minutes, you agree to take $25 for that visit and whatever the copay is. So you may get $50 a visit. On that $50, you've got to pay your salary, you've got to pay your overhead, you've got to pay your malpractice insurance, you got to pay all this shit. Now, so in order to make enough money just on office visits alone, you got to book people in. You got to see like 50 patients a day.
You honestly think
that not delivering adequate patient care.
Yeah, but do you honestly think hospitals are not seeing that kind of volume already?
Oh, the hospitals are seeing the kind of volume, but the hospitals are not just charging $50. The hospitals are charging $50 for a Motrin. The hospitals are charging $150 for a 50-cent nasal cannula stick in your nose. The hospitals are charging $750 if you need to be ventilated just for the bag valve mask, which is a $25 piece. Anyone that goes into the hospital in the U.S., it's really important that when you come out, you demand an itemized bill. Look at all the shit they claim you got, because a lot of it is standard of care, which doesn't necessarily mean you got it, but it's bundled into what they are billing for. So if you go in and you have a broken bone, basically everyone who goes into an ER gets oxygen. Whether you get it or not, that's the protocol. between 2 and 15 liters a minute, unless you're on demand valve, and that's 100%. Everybody's getting oxygen. You may never get oxygen, but it's in the standard operating procedure, so they're billing for it. You're getting charged for it. If you have a deductible and your deductible is high and you got charged, like, say, $3,000 for this visit to the ER, which is nothing. ER visits are usually like a day in the ER, 15 grand. That's about what it costs in the US. So say you have a $25,000 deductible. The hospital's going to charge you usual and customary rates, and you're on the hook for that, which doesn't make any sense either. Here's where more crime happens, because they're charging you $375 for this piece of equipment, but they're contracted with the insurance, so the insurance is only going to pay them $3 for that piece because that's what's in their contract. But since you didn't hit your deductible, they're charging you full price. How is that? They're not going to get that money from any insurance company. They're going to get between $3 and $5 for that piece of equipment, but they're going to charge you $375 because you haven't hit your deductible. Meanwhile, you're getting ripped off. You're paying $15,000 on this bill that if your deductible had been met, the hospital would have probably gotten $300 for. How are you on the hook for $1,500 for the exact same care when you have insurance? So this is another part of the issue: the inflation and the padding of the bills and everything that they're legally allowed to do because it's in the standard of care practice. It's up to you as a consumer to get your itemized bill and say, I never was given a Motrin. I was never given oxygen. I had a cast, I had a sling and swat, and bing, bam, boom. The sling and swat, they'll charge you $75 for. They pay $5 for it. It costs Hanger, DME company, $1 to make it. So they keep on passing these costs along. If they brought the price down, like you said, to a flat rate to where everyone is able to cover their expenses and able to meet their bills, and you know what you can reasonably expect as a consumer, life would be a lot less stressful. But since it's crooked and these insurance companies have so much money, they're in the deep pockets. They're in the politicians' pockets. That's why this shit will never change. That's why Obamacare could not happen the way it was supposed to have happened. All Obamacare did was fuck me over because I was in between jobs. I had to wait 3 months to get new health insurance because I was in between contracts. I wasn't even in between jobs. I was in between contracts, and I work for the federal government, for Christ's sakes. And because I was in between insurances for 3 months, they took $2,000 from me. How is that supposed to help me get health insurance?
Right.
So I'm glad the Obamacare is gone because I don't get fined anymore for being in between contracts. But I could see if I was a blight on the system. For that 3 months, I didn't have to get any kind of medical care. I paid out of pocket for my blood pressure medication. That was it. I didn't cause the city, the state, or the feds any kind of money whatsoever. Nothing. So why am I being penalized? I can see if I took advantage of the system, I can see that if I didn't get covered and I had a stroke, and the rule is you get sick, you got to pay for it. And then I say I can't pay for it. Okay, make that on me. Nothing happened. Why am I still getting fined? I was not a blight on the system. Why am I still getting fined? Because the shit is crooked. And it's set up to be crooked. That's why we can't go to socialized medicine. That's why we can't go to any other kind of reasonable accommodation for the general population, because there's too many people that wouldn't get their $1 million, hand in the pocket. There's too many deep pockets. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Now I got the vapors.
Good.
So for having me on here.
What can I say? I want you to get pissed.
But this is what the average American needs to know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Somebody who's been in the industry for a very long time.
Oh, okay. Let me explain something to you, okay? Whenever I'm actually featuring any kind of pain whatsoever, I shouldn't have to bring along my fucking accountant in the ambulance with me, because you want to know what? The last thing I fucking need is to take a look at an oversized goddamn receipt over every single little bit of equipment that, one, didn't even get used on me, and two, didn't even get used on me effectively. Because most of the time, they're purchasing a lot of these secondary hospital workers at a cheap rate in order to be able to afford to be able to put the money in the fucking pockets of the doctors that are basically doing nothing more than saying, okay, what the hell you want here? 4 hours after waiting in a fucking hotel room, a hospital room full of about a bunch of other people that are probably sicker than you are, just so they can look at a chart and say, okay, 6 days rest. Okay, now next patient. Go fuck yourself, you goddamn fucking lab coat wearing piece of shit. Get the fuck out of here and give me some real care.
And this is the standard of American care for the most part. And the staff that's in it for the right reasons, they're all completely burnt on all the Gomers. Gomer, get out of my emergency room. All the people coming splinters in the fingers and they're not hemophiliacs or anyone with any kind of underlying conditions that a splinter could kill. And there are people that could die from a splinter in a finger. But these people that go to the ER and waste the resources are never those people. It's always the little old man who took the bus and walked 15 blocks because his arm didn't feel right, who wanders into the ER because he's just feeling a little winded, that's having a fucking active heart attack. Those are the people that walk into the ER. And they usually have to wait because they're downplaying their symptoms. So they don't even get triaged because they were walking in. Yet some assholes got to go in the ambulance because they've got random non-specific hair pain on a stretcher. Oh, I can't walk. Yeah, it's the bulk of your 911 calls in any metropolitan area. There's in New York City, the 5 boroughs, there's 5 to 7 call types. There's a sick minor. That doesn't mean a small kid. It means it's the lowest call you can get. It's a priority 7. No lights, no sirens. You take your time getting there. It's somebody with a splinter to the finger with no other medical conditions, no psych, no medical, no nothing, who's able-bodied, able to walk to the ER. Then you have a sick. That's somebody who's got a stomach flu that thinks they're dying, and they call the ambulance for this. Then you have an abdominal pain, because abdominal pains can be true medical emergencies. In most cases, thank God they're not, but in some cases you could have a AAA, you could have an ascending aortic aneurysm that if you move wrong, you will go boom, and you will be no more. And that's an outcome on a lot of AAAs, and it's a shame, but it's a true medical emergency, and a lot of those go undetected. Abdominal pain can be gastric, it could be indigestion. But if you're over 45 and you're having indigestion, that could be the symptom of a heart attack too. So there's some things that are gray areas. But you never get the people, very rarely, should I say, you get the people having true life-threatening emergencies that call 911 for an ambulance. And when you call 911, you don't just get the ambulance. You get the cops, you get the ambulance, and depending on the call type, in the New York 5 boroughs, you get a fire truck. So you've got like 15 people that are going to administer the stare of life before you even get there with the ambulance. And then the ambulance gets there and doesn't need to be there. And now you've wasted that ambulance. And the ambulances are set up there. They're relegated by the census. So if you don't do the census, you're not going to get ambulances. Case in point, I used to live up in Washington Heights. Washington Heights is a very heavily populated area. It's mostly Dominican immigrants. They're not filling out the census because they don't want to get sent back. Because of this, there are only 2 ambulances, one ALS and one BLS, assigned to the entire Washington Heights. There's like 10,000 people living up there, but there's 2 ambulances because the census dictates ain't nobody up there. So when people say fill out the census, it is important because it helps allocate budgeting for things like ambulances and cops and stuff like that. So there wasn't a lot of police presence up there, which is why there was a heavy drug trade up there, because there were 5 cops for like, a 50-block radius because the census said nobody lived there. So, there's all these, and the truth of the matter is, do people know that people live in there? Yes. Do people know it's a Dominican neighborhood? Yes. Do people know that a lot of these people don't have cards? Yes. They still get sick. They still are going to call 911 when they need help or when they perceive they need help. And they're going to get 1 of 2 ambulances maybe. And that's why you hear some people saying it took 20 minutes to get an ambulance in New York City because ain't nobody assigned to the area because the census wasn't filled out and it looks like nobody lives there on paper. So even though the people dispatching in Queens know that all of the Dominican Republic is in this 20-block radius and you need more than 2 ambulances, you can't put more than 2 there. You can try to sneak some out of the Upper West Side, who everyone fills out the census and they got a lot of this. So they're getting not only 6 city ambulances, but they're getting the voluntary hospitals that are trying to get the patients in their hospitals as well that are augmenting the 911 system. So you have St. Clair's, which no longer is in existence. It didn't do them any good. You'll have Presbyterian. You'll have Lenox Hill, that has their own ambulances out in those areas, and those are affluent areas. So they got all this coverage. And meanwhile, you've got areas that have nothing. And this is why this shit happens. The whole thing is rigged. It's all crooked. You don't need to do a census to know there's more than 10 people up in Washington Heights. You don't need a census to know that. You shouldn't need the census to prove your budget to say, I need 8 ambulances in this 50-block radius. But you ain't getting it because they can easily say, well, the census. And you have nothing you can fight them on because that's where your budget comes from. Don't get sick of Washington Heights. Or if you do, make sure you call. There's lots of gypsy cabs up there, so you can get a ride to the hospital really quick. And the gypsy cabs is what we call rolling stops. Every now and then, a gunshot victim will like kind of fall out on Presbyterian's ER doorstep, and somebody will yell stretcher, and then you're taking this guy that's got lead poisoning into the ER because the rolling stop. He called an ambulance, and after 5 minutes, he got in a gypsy cab. Took his gunshot 2 to the 5X and his last breaths in the ER. And this is the reality of it. So it goes further than the insurance. It's just the whole medical industry, if you're alive, is kind of fucked. The whole thing is kind of fucked. And the problem is people don't find this out until, God forbid, they have something catastrophic that happens. And then they learn their insurance fucked them. If they're lucky and they needed an ambulance, they got one for any of the many reasons that I've cited that you're not getting one if you're legit. Because there aren't enough, and then the ones that are around, they're working as the most expensive cab service in all the 5 boroughs because people who don't pay, they just call 911 for everything. Well, I need the ambulance. And a lot of times what they do is they will call 911. 911 will only bring you to an ER, and they'll bring you to the closest appropriate ER for your medical condition. Mm-hmm. Oh, I have an appointment at Bellevue, but they live over in Chelsea. Well, I don't take people to appointments. You're going to go to the ER. They get out of the ambulance. You sign off. They go upstairs to whatever their appointment was, and they don't even think twice about it. And there's an ambulance your grandmother ain't getting when she's choking on a chicken bone at Thanksgiving dinner. This is the reality of that type of medical industry.
All right. My brain.
I know.
This is the look on a face of a paradigm shifting without a clutch.
Yeah, it's look number 17 in the series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole thing is broken. And the only way to unbreak it right now is to make yourself knowledgeable about what you're dealing with and understand the reality of what you're dealing with. And if for whatever reason, if you have insurance and the insurance is not paying for medical procedures, fight with them. Fight with them. Working for a physician's office, say the billing department, they will fight to get the claims paid. But the insurance companies don't give a shit if they pay the doctors. They really don't care because they're still getting their premiums. So what they do care about is the patient. If the doctors aren't getting paid that they should be getting paid what the insurance is supposed to be paying, but the insurance basically says, fuck you, I just ain't paying you today. Screw you. I'm just not going to pay you.
All right.
And and the billing company will fight, and they'll fight, and they know, the insurance companies know the algorithms. The life of a medical biller these days in any private medical practice is 6 months to a year. Why? Because like everybody else, they ain't earning a living. And like everyone else, they're not getting a raise. So if you want a raise and you work for a doctor's office, the only way to get it is to move on. So you work as a medical biller for $17 an hour. You there 6 months to a year. You ask for a raise. Well, sorry, we can't afford it because we're not getting paid. If you work harder and get us paid, we can afford to pay you. Well, guess what? You can only fight but so much. So you go to the next office. You go to the next job that's going to pay you maybe $18 or $19 because now you have 5 years in the industry. Now you got 10 years. Now you got 15 years. So that's how you get your raises. Meanwhile, the back end of the medical office is a revolving door. And it takes about 6 months to get a claim paid. And when the insurance companies are taking maybe 20% of your claims and saying, fuck you, we're not paying you. Because the longer they know they got to pay you sooner or later. But the longer they're not paying you, the longer they're holding on to your money and it's earning them interest in whatever their accounts they have it in. Meanwhile, you're fighting to get paid. The longer you have to fight to get paid for your money, the less it's worth because now you're paying employees to try to get your money and it's worth less and less. And this is like for $30 to $75 for surgery cases. You might have billed out $150,000 for a spinal surgery. You're going to get $1,000 because you're contracted with the insurance. But since it's a high dollar claim, the insurance companies are going to hold that shit for a year, 2 years, 3 years, make you go through all the appeal process. Oh, it's going to take another 60 days. It's going to take another 60 days. So you're fighting for that money. The patients had their surgery. That's been approved. But the insurance company, they lose the claim. The claim has to go through their third-party vendor to reprice and all this bullshit. But God forbid you don't pay the claim. Now, when you work in the industry and it's your job to send out a claim after your patients had treatment, you have 30 days to get that to the bureau. They say, no, timely filing. You're fucked. You didn't send it to us in time. Yet they can take all the time in the world to tell you no, even though you jumped through every single hoop they gave you and you did everything the way you were supposed to do. They still have the right to say, no, we just decided we're not paying you. Fuck you. Sue us. Because no one's going to sue. You have to get a lawyer, and then you have to make a class action suit. You have to take, say, 50 claims that didn't get paid for, say, 2019. Those claims are worth on the table maybe $100,000. You got to take them all. You take them to arbitration. You take them to court. It costs you money to do this, and then they before it goes to trial, they settle for a nickel on the dollar. Now you're out even more money, and now it's just like the principle of the thing. So you can never get ahead. So the idea that physicians are getting these 8 figures, that's not so much true anymore. It used to be. It's not anymore. It's completely unbalanced, which is why you have people who are going into medicine who are not going into practice. And the ones that are going into practice with live patients, they're not taking insurances. They will tell you, if you have insurances, I'm not contracted. I will submit the forms to you, but it's your responsibility to pay me my fees up front. And then the patient has to recoup whatever they can for the insurance companies. That way the doctor doesn't have to pay all these people to fight for nothing. It keeps the overhead low. So more and more private physicians are going the way of not contracted with insurances and doing fee for service only. Or you get out of medical school, you go into a profession that somebody else is going to pay your ticket, that you don't have to worry about any of that. You go into research, you go into expert testimony, you go into forensic sciences, you go into the sciences where you don't have to deal with insurance claims, where you get paid by a different entity altogether. Then you're getting your salary. And then you're getting your malpractice insurance paid for as well. All this shit hanging over your head leaves less and less people going into medicine proper. Because you're not making that money anymore. But you're certainly in that amount of debt when you get out of college. There's no one rolling out of college anymore into the Mercedes. It just doesn't happen anymore.
Would you like some O2?
Sorry, you got me ranting.
No, it's good. It's good. That was nice, long, sustained.
I'm sorry. It was just one big run-on sentence.
2 minutes. Like, I'm impressed. This is why you're a lieutenant.
And this is the truth of the matter.
It's insane. And I was gonna look to the comments here. We got some folks here.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, everyone. They're like, oh my god, don't give her any more caffeine.
No, like I said, it's good. It's wow.
Paige, you want some O2, it's 150. No, Paige, it's 400 plus $75 for the nasal cannula. But since it's not medically necessary, it's going to be $750 out of my pocket. You got to laugh because ain't nothing else to do about it.
Yeah. All right, we're approaching that part of the show where I normally just let my hair down a little bit and relax because it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. All right,
let's decide most people don't see.
No, it's good. That's the whole purpose of the killing wall. Let out that fucking rage.
Well, when you said you were doing this, I'm like, oh, I want in.
Yeah, you were like the first person to jump on it. You weren't even the one that suggested the topic. Tonight was supposed to be about height bias. And then somebody said medical insurance, and I was like, ooh. Oh yeah, that's getting moved to the top of the pile. But yeah,
Diggs did that. He must be having an issue with something.
I'm saying, sometimes everyday shit in many ways inspires me to do a subject for the show. So I'm so glad I got such an eager jump. To the comments, Droop Darrow, believe it or not, I grew up in Jersey City, and I still live in Jersey, and Justice is Jersey. Jerseyite, as it were.
Right now.
So whatever neighborhood you think that your brother's moved to, just say it. I'll tell you if it's an area that's going to be, because I grew up in Jersey City. So I kind of know what you're talking about constantly hearing ambulances. I lived right down the street from Christ Hospital in Jersey City where I grew up. Okay? And then for a while I was living downtown off of 8th in Monmouth. You know, Justice would actually know the gym where I did my amateur boxing too.
Which gym?
The Marciano gym on Newark Avenue.
Okay, yeah.
That's where I did a lot of my amateur fights. That's where I broke this twice.
Don't tell that to a hospital. They'll ask you for a shitload of money.
I was glad at the time my sister was studying to be a nurse. She set my nose.
When I broke mine, I reset it. I reset it myself. I went to the ER just in case, because I live by myself. Went to the ER just in case. They did the CAT scan. They're like, no, we don't set him in the ER anymore because you get a swell. I'm like, all right, I'll set it myself. Fuck it. And that's what I did.
She set mine. The thing is that what broke it was the same exact fucking thing. Both times. Okay? It was a fake left to a straight right. And it severed the cartilage in the bone.
Okay.
The first time. The second time, it did the exact same thing. It just exploited the crack. Now, it's not connected at all.
Oh, okay.
Which means I can do cool tricks with my nose.
Yeah, I don't need to see that.
You're part of Hellfire. You have a stronger stomach than that.
That's the problem.
Hey, come on. It's not connected anymore.
Oh, man. Okay, silly putty face.
Free floating. And I basically have to set it myself again.
It's a pre-existing condition.
Actually, yeah, that's the big problem with insurance. If it's a pre-existing condition, it counts against you.
Yeah, but that's not supposed to be the case anymore. That was supposed to be outlawed, but they're finding ways around that these days. Just don't be honest with them. Don't tell them shit. No,
I'm a 100% healthy individual. I've never had any kind of pre-existing conditions. I've never had cancer or anything like that before.
Nope, never.
Nope. Oh, my memory.
I tell them that every time I fill out the forms. Any medical conditions? No. Are you taking any medicine? Yeah, I take Benacar every day. They're like, well, you have a pre-existing condition. Tell me you're not going to pay for my fucking blood pressure meds. Go ahead and tell me. I double dog dare you.
I love my hydrochlorothiazide.
HCTZ. Hydrochlorothiazide. HCTZ. Yep.
I used to take it all the time. Guess what? My prescription ran out.
So you're not peeing every 5 minutes now.
Thank you. No, I just pee every 15 now.
Yeah.
Except when I'm on air. I hold it in. That alone, I take the Walter Winchell approach. Do you know what he used to do before he did his radio broadcasts? Okay? What he'd do is he'd drink 3 tall glasses of water before he'd have to go on and do his radio broadcast.
Oh, my God.
And would do it as fast as he possibly could. And the moment he'd finish the broadcast, he'd rush out of the broadcast booth right to the urinal.
I'm surprised he doesn't pee in a cup underneath him. I mean, you're seeing this much of people. How does anybody know, like, what's behind us right now?
This was before video broadcast. This was a radio broadcast.
Well, see, that's even more so. Nobody knows.
It motivated him to get all of the news done in a minute and a half.
It's amazing how standards get set, isn't it?
Okay, he gave speed rappers a fucking run for their money.
Oh, my God.
This was a guy from the frickin' 30s. Everybody wanted to be in Walter Winchell's column.
It's true. That's true.
They even did a song about it. Oh, I want to be in Winchell's column.
Oh, watch out. Who did that song?
Oh, God.
Yeah, remember, we're on Facebook. We can't even sing. You got to give credit to the artist. Actually, that's probably well over the boiling point.
Oh, yeah. Over 80.
Shit, I had somebody in my room on Friday night. It was a birthday. I'm like, I'd sing happy birthday to you, but I'm scared I'll get booted. So I didn't do it.
Nope. Don't sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. The rights are owned by Mozart.
Up. There you go. I don't think Mozart's suing us anytime soon, though. But Sony probably owns Mozart or some shit.
No, I think it's for use.
It really should be, but if it was, they'd be using it for every car commercial on the planet. So who knows? There's probably some catch to that, too. It's a catch to everything.
Sergeant Jeremy, I'm so glad that you tuned in. And like I said, life is worth living if only to watch my show and report in for your broadcast.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, and people think I need O2. Step away from the caffeine. Is look number 96.
That should be on my merch, like 9 different individual looks of
Yes.
the rant commander. And like I said, this one still to this day is paradigm shifting without a clutch.
Hey, Takara's in here with us. Hi, Takara.
Hey, quack, quack.
Quack, quack. Daryl's here. Hi, Daryl.
Yep.
And Jeremy. When you said Jeremy's in the room, I love Jeremy. He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, Sergeant Jeremy.
Sergeant Jeremy.
Yeah, I refer to some of my troops as sergeants. Some of them have not been promoted yet. Come on, I need foot soldiers here. I need riflemen. Not everybody can be an NCO. Oh man, it's insane. And you know what? I mean, the thing is that to this day, the only insurance I got is VA insurance.
You're not really missing anything because, I mean, if it's just as difficult to deal with the VA as it is a commercial insurance, you're not missing anything. You're really not. So the regular job doesn't have any kind of medical benefits for you?
They have them available. I just haven't bothered to buy into them because, frankly,
so you have to buy into it?
Hand to mouth as is.
Yeah.
I can't use any more fucking deductions from my paycheck to pay for insurance.
No, I get it. I get it.
The Troop Daryl, you want to know what? Springfield isn't that bad. I mean, it could be worse. Could be a lot worse.
It ain't Passaic.
Yeah, right. It ain't East Orange.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? I mean, shit, that movie Stand By Me, that was about East Orange High School.
And then the War of the Worlds, didn't they stamp on Jersey City? The new one?
I think they did.
In Jersey City or something like that?
I think they did. I wouldn't be surprised.
Because I saw that in the movies when it came out, and I was on the West Coast still. I was like, yeah, take it down. Jersey don't need to be there. And then here I am. Oops. Yeah, I said that about Jersey. Jersey was not on my radar. I got assigned. It's okay. People rag on Jersey, and I'd actually prefer they rag on Jersey because it means less of them are moving here. So there's more parking for me.
Exactly.
I mean, it does look ugly for most of the highways because you see the industrial parts, but there's some absolutely spectacular places in Jersey.
There's only one part that's industrial. It's Elizabeth. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Everywhere else, it's freaking gardens and forests. And
that's why they call it the Garden State. But all anyone sees is the turnpike because that's right over the border. And that's what you see when you get off the airplane. That's what you see when you get out of any airport, except Savannah. You walk out of Savannah's airport, you're in Savannah. It's beautiful.
The thing is that the Newark airport, it's technically in Elizabeth.
It is. It is.
That's what you see. You want to know what? When you're driving through Jersey, you're driving into Jersey City from New York City.
Yes.
Of course, you're going to think it's nothing but an industrial park because there's a crap ton of factories all over by the freaking Holland Tunnel.
Yeah, and that's all anyone ever sees.
Much better. Okay? You got freaking the George Washington Bridge coming off near fucking, off near 287. All right?
No, GW Bridge comes off in Fort Lee and 9.
Fort Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you don't see Fort Lee. If you're coming off the highway, unless you get out in Fort Lee, you're not seeing Fort Lee. You're just seeing more highway. So it depends on where you're going when you get off the GW. Because you're either going to 4, 80, or 9. Now, if you get on 9, it's pretty over there. You can see trees and shit. Because you're going up by Alpine and Edgewater and all that kind of stuff. If you get on 80, you're just seeing highway. You're not even seeing the stuff on the side. So unless you're getting off and you go into 4 and 17, that's the only way you're seeing stuff on the side of the roads.
No, the parkway is like notoriously all forests and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is they put all the crap along the northern border near freaking New York City.
Yes.
They put all the other crap that they can along the border near Philly.
Yes.
And you gotta start to wonder, is it really us putting it there? Or is their crap spilling over to here?
It's us putting it there, but we're putting it there strategically. Because look at all the stuff that belongs to Port Authority of New York and New Jersey that's right on the Hudson, on both sides.
Yeah, but that's because the Elizabeth Seaport is the busiest seaport on the eastern seaboard.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Now, who knows what kind of deal the Port Authority of New Jersey has with the Port Authority of Pennsylvania on that end. So they
Shit that
probably
comes
have
up.
shared jurisdictions as well, where they're sharing the taxes and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, that's most likely what it is. We get all of our good shit that's really nice to look at once you get about a good 20 minutes past the border.
Yes. Yeah,
All right.
on either end. Yeah.
Strike that. 20 minutes without traffic.
Yeah, 45 minutes to 2 hours with traffic.
There you go.
That's why we don't want anyone else moving here. Because it'll be
Jersey's
2
the
hours
only
and
state in
5
the
minutes.
country
Somebody
that-
brings
yeah.
another car in.
Yep. Jersey's the only state in the country that you got to pay to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. That tells you something.
Yeah. It's basically it's a prison. You're paying bail. Because
And
you'll
it's
be back.
$15 to $18 to leave.
Yeah, that's if you're heading up north.
Yeah. Yeah. What's
You
it
know,
cost to
there
go
are-
to Philly?
Oh God. Actually, you know what? You could get to Philly through if you take 78 the whole freaking way
Okay.
for free.
Okay.
But
You're on
once you
78
do
every
that,
day.
you got to get south.
Yeah.
You got to drive south. It's like the escape tunnel. Nobody told anybody about. You just take 78. You got to stay on 287 long enough for it to turn into 78, and then you're able to go.
Yeah.
And 78's pretty as fuck, but
Yes. Yeah.
it's a trip. You know, I used to take that nonstop. Jersey City, I mean, Jersey is just loaded with nothing but road arteries and beautiful freaking shit all whole way around. But you got to get through the
You gotta
crap
get
first.
through. Yeah. Yeah.
The only way to do it. It's where the strong survive and the weak get eaten.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yep, there's a sign that says, "Welcome to New Jersey. Now get the fuck
Get
out."
the fuck out. And don't tell them when you were here.
And if you were here and we find out that you told anybody that we got nice shit up here, so help me. We're going to break your legs the same fucking way we broke those New Yorkers' legs that came down here and decided to move all the way up in North Jersey and make it a fucking expensive-ass place to live.
This shit was expensive before I sat my fat ass here.
I mean, Christ. If you want to talk about fucked up, okay, about 60% of the New York Yankees live in Jersey.
Yep.
What does that tell you?
It tells you everybody got pushed out of New York. And that's
No.
still happening.
Nope, they just don't want to admit New York sucks.
It does. It does. I was born and raised in New York, grew up in New York. I try to go back and no, there's no reason. It's just 5 million % tourists, 5 million % overpriced, 5 million % overrated. And there's really not anything that's unique about New York now. It's just one big open mall. Because the small mom and pop shops, the places I used to shop in the 70s, the Late Show, you know, Max, you know, the clubs I went to, Max's, CBGB's, they're all gone. They're all condos. Every place I used to go hang out or shop at is all gone. And I used to patronize the small mom and pop shops and stuff, and everything's gone because no one can afford the rents. So everything is a Starbucks, everything is a Gap, everything is an H&M. Shit, Morgan Network couldn't even stay on Fifth Avenue, for Christ's sakes. So there's really all the icons of New York City are like gone. You know?
And even then,
you can't even go to because the tourists are all over.
the thing
So-
is, here's the theory. Here's the theory, okay?
Change.
Actually, you know what? This could be next week. This could be tomorrow's topic. Why New York sucks. But hey, we got some foreigners in here. We got Sever. Welcome back from Belgium. Anyways,
Hey,
all right. Kick this into high gear. People in New York, they're the ones that are hypnotized by New York swamp gas that comes out of the fucking subways to make them think that New York City is the greatest place to fucking live. They don't
Anyone who lived there and took the subways, that swamp gas doesn't work.
But the thing is that the second that they leave New York City and they see that, one, Jersey is a nice fucking place to live.
Yeah.
Connecticut's a nice place to live. Pennsylvania's a nice place to live. Ohio's a nice place to live. Once they realize that, they take one look at New York City and they're like, what the flying fuck was I so damn hyped about when I was living here?
Because you don't know any different. You
You're
don't
not
know any.
drinking the Kool-Aid anymore.
Yeah. I don't think there's any Kool-Aid left in New York, though, because even New Yorkers are starting to leave. When I left the first time, I wasn't ready to leave, and I really missed New York. So I moved out to Los Angeles in 1981, and New York was still a place at that time. You could still afford to live there. You could still work there. You could still have fun there. It wasn't what it is now. It wasn't garbage. You could do stuff there. And it wasn't until Mayor Koch got in, because Koch was a real estate broker in the Village, and the Village wasn't any kind of. There was some expensive areas, but most of it was just working class. Well,
1:25 in the morning, Sever.
Huh?
Sever was asking what time it is over here since it's 7:30 a.m. there. I'm like, dude, It is 1:25 in the morning here.
Yeah, it's late night here. So good morning over there in Belgium. He's having his coffee. So New York was livable still back in the 80s. And when I left, I went to Los Angeles. Now, Los Angeles was also the place to be in the 80s. You can't do that anymore either. So at least I replaced New York with the West Coast version of it. But there was something that I always missed New York. By the time I got back to New York, the first time in 1990, I went back for school. It was starting to change. Huh?
Was Giuliani mayor or Dinkins was still mayor?
Dinkins was mayor when I went back. I had to work under Giuliani when I worked for the fire department. And Giuliani was the reason why I almost lost my medical school program, because he decided that he was going to merge us into the fire department. We were under the Health and Hospitals Corporation. And that was tricky to work. But yeah, between Koch, after Koch left, everybody was on the same roll about make this the most expensive city in the world. And that's what they did. There were people living in the lofts, in industrial lofts in the 20s in Chelsea. And you're paying 15 cents a square foot. So you had these live work artist lofts, and that's where all the bands lived. You had the common area, and then you had everybody's rooms were off the side. And it cost you nothing to do. You paid $400 a month for an entire floor. Well, Koch decided, well, that I can make a thing out of this. This is how loft living came about. So Koch says, no, this is not zoned for living and working. Get out. And everyone said, wait a second, where do you want us to go? We've already improved the space. Okay, well, then you bring it up to fire code to make it a livable and workable condition, and we'll let you stay. So everybody put all these capital improvements in these rental spaces, these raw rental spaces, brought them up to the fire code, put the proper bathrooms in, proper plumbing, blah, 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 spent thousands and thousands of dollars, and then the motherfucker rezoned all these areas. Everyone got kicked out of the buildings after made all the capital improvements. He went back in after rezoning, and his compatriots in his law and his realty firm bought up the properties. Now you got Kennedy's in Soho and all these places with multi-million-dollar lofts that we made after they pushed us out anyway. So this is how New York got fucked. So little by little, I've been watching the deep pockets steal everything from New York, and there's nothing left of it now. So all there is deep pockets in New York. That's it. No one can afford to be there.
Meanwhile, Jersey real estate has remained the same for the last 80 years.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. The only thing they did was it gentrified the hell out of Jersey City a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Okay?
Well, they're also putting up now all these high rises down there to try to get the New Yorkers over. So that's bumped up a lot of rents.
Only mostly by the Holland Tunnel.
Yeah.
Area, because we still got a whole lot of old garment factories that were still there. For a while, they were clubs.
Yes.
That got shut down for a while, and I hate to say it, the place started to look like Detroit for a hot second.
Yeah.
There's
still some areas that look that way.
I grew up amongst it, so I know. When people say you're rocking suits and shit, what the hell do you know about the hard knock life? I'm like, motherfucker, I grew up out by the Duncan Projects. Go fuck yourself, okay?
Yeah.
All right. I know what it's like to get shot at before I was in the military. Go fuck yourself. That's because I'm rocking a suit and I'm not sagging the shit out of my jeans and saying yo at the end of every single sentence. Don't mean I know about that life. I just ain't about it no more.
Yeah.
I went to Dickinson High School, for God's sakes. I remember the subway tunnels that sit underneath the high school.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's ridiculous. There's certain areas. Jersey City, I remember, was split up amongst the high schools. The big four. Lincoln, Snyder, Ferris, and Dickinson. And there were riots amongst the high schools.
Okay.
I took a brick to the face when I was a freshman. Okay? It was a thing. All right? My buddy Gerald got lit up right on freaking Newark Avenue in front of the high school.
Wow.
Got me. My little portly 240-pound freaking body just running. Okay? You want to talk about fucking shit. You know, and Jersey City has gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
Some places have gotten worse. I remember there was a restaurant on 440. Okay, 440, for those of you that don't know or are not familiar with Jersey, 440 was one of the major freaking road veins from Jersey City coming off of the main truck route, 1 and 9. Routes 1 and 9 converged and became 1 and 9. You usually see it at the opening of The Sopranos. Okay, 1 and 9. Okay, you know the Wilson's carpet statue that you see there? It looks like a guy holding a green log. That's Wilson's carpet. Place got burnt down 3 times for insurance fraud. Okay? And yeah, that was a family business. All right? Tragedy at the Pulaski Skyway. All right? 440, leading right off along there. There was a restaurant called Grandma's. It was the first place I played in an arcade cabinet. Turned into a fucking IHOP. Killed me. First time I ever tasted fish. A fish fillet. They used to call it the fish and chips. The Chips Ahoy. See, Jersey City was my home. I may not have been born in Jersey, and I hate to say that because you want to know what? I grew up here. I've been living in Jersey since I was 2. Okay? But I'm not a Giants fan. I'm not a Yankees fan. Go Patriots. And on that note, ladies and gents, we've reached the end of the broadcast. I want to thank Justice for tuning in. Deciding to report in my fucking lieutenant. Seriously, you kicked the fucking shit out of me. You impressed me with your rant skills. Like, what the flying fuck? You earned your bars, okay? Now, troops, I could tell you, dude, unless you lived here, do not knock the smell of Jersey. Oh. So sorry, Sergeant Jeremy farted, and that's what he was responding to. I wonder what that smell was. I immediately think it's a knock on Jersey, and I immediately start to get heated. But anyways, tune in tomorrow night. I think I'm going after New Yorkers. What do you think, Jeff? I should go after New Yorkers.
Go ahead. You got nothing to lose.
Good. New York is on the fucking chopping block. That being said, troops, thank Lieutenant Justice. Follow General Order. Share this to groups. Share this to timelines. I want to see a crap ton of shares in this broadcast. All of you have a very good fucking night. Hit the goddamn rack. And above all else, remember, thank you for reporting for your briefing. Rank Commander's out. Have a good